The film begins with Linda and Jim, as he takes her and surprises her by showing her their new home. We then see Linda waking up, and her daughters wake her, so she takes them to school. When she returns home, she puts a sticker on the garden window, then starts cleaning the house and puts the laundry in the washing machine. At that moment, she picks up a colorful sweater and finds it clean, so she sets it aside instead of putting it in the washer. She turns the machine on and calls her friend Annie. Annie tells her it's Thursday and asks what they're going to do. Linda replies that she has no plans. After the call, she listens to the answering machine messages. She hears a message from Jim saying he meant what he said in front of their daughters and that he wants to confess something to her. Just then, Jim receives a call. He tells her he'll answer it and call her back. At the end of the call, she hears him say, "Is that you calling?" and then the line goes dead. She calls him back, but he doesn't answer, so she leaves him a message asking him to call her. The doorbell rings. Linda opens the door and is shocked to find a police officer telling her that Jim had an accident and died. She asks when, and he says yesterday. She insists that's impossible because he left her a message and she heard it. The officer explains they couldn't reach her until today and says the accident happened on the highway at mile marker 220. He gives her his card and tells her to call if she has questions, then leaves. She goes to pick up her daughters from school and later tells them their father has died. That night, her mother is with her, trying to comfort her and discussing funeral and insurance arrangements. Linda says she isn't ready for all that. Her mother comforts her and tells her she'll be upstairs if she needs anything. The next morning, Linda wakes up and looks for her mother but can't find her. She goes downstairs and sees Jim alive and well in the house. She's shocked. He asks what's wrong. She says nothing. Jim tells her it's Monday and he has to go train a new assistant at work. He takes the girls to school. At the same time, we see her taking the girls to school. She checks the answering machine but finds no messages. As she drives, she almost gets into an accident but stops just in time. The same police officer approaches her. She tells him she was distracted, and he warns her to be more careful next time. Later, she meets Annie and asks if they spoke yesterday. Annie says they talk every day, but Linda insists she left her a message. Annie says she doesn't think so. Back home, Linda notices the same laundry still sitting on top of the washer. Confused, she checks it, then goes outside to see the clothes hanging. She trips over a toy and falls, cutting her hand on a dead, blood-covered bird. Horrified, she rushes to wash her hands and throws the bird in the trash. That night, they all have dinner together, with Jim alive. She is confused. Then they go to sleep. The next morning, Linda wakes up and calls for Jim. She sees a wine bottle beside her and strange markings on the mirror. In the bathroom sink, she finds an empty lithium bottle. When she goes downstairs, she's shocked to see her mother and Annie hosting a wake for Jim. They tell her to change out of her house clothes. She insists he isn't dead and that something is wrong, then goes upstairs. In the garden, she sees her daughters. She notices many stitched wounds on her older daughter's face and asks what happened. But the younger daughter says there's nothing on her sister's face. Confused, Linda hugs them and tells them everything will be okay. They ask how their father died. She says she doesn't know, she didn't see. Later, they are in church for Jim's funeral. Linda tells her mother something is wrong. How can someone be dead and then fine the next day? She asks if she saw the body. Her mother says no. Linda insists on opening the coffin. When it's opened, parts scatter out, and she collapses screaming. At the wake, Linda notices a strange woman standing alone. She approaches her and asks who she is and how she knew Jim. The woman says she already told her yesterday when they met. Linda insists they've never met. The woman offers condolences and leaves. Later, Linda finds the lithium bottle labeled with Dr. Norman Roth's name. She looks him up in the directory and notices a torn page. She finds the torn piece in the trash and tries to call him but discovers it's after office hours. Annie and her mother put the girls to bed. The doorbell rings, and a man enters. It's Dr. Norman. Her mother tells Linda not to be angry and mentions what happened to her daughter's face. Linda insists she didn't do it, but they believe she caused the injury. They restrain her and take her to an ambulance. At the institution, Dr. Norman speaks to the police officer, who says he informed her on Thursday that her husband died Wednesday. Dr. Norman is confused and says she visited him Tuesday saying her husband had died, or would die. He asks if they're sure it was an accident, then gives her a sedative. Linda wakes up the next day in her own bed and realizes it was a dream. She hears someone showering. It's Jim. She hugs him, and he reassures her, but she still doesn't understand what's happening. She makes breakfast and sees her daughter's face is completely fine. She happily tells her she's beautiful. After dropping the girls at school, she returns home and checks the trash, finding the dead bird covered in insects. She closes it again. She searches for the directory page and finds it intact, so she tears it herself. She visits Dr. Norman. He doesn't recognize her, but she recognizes him. She tells him what's been happening, that sometimes she sees her husband dead, other times alive, and she sees people who know her though she doesn't know them. He asks, "Like you know me now?" She says yes. He asks about the lithium bottle. She says she doesn't remember where it is and asks how his name was on it. She begs him to explain what's happening. Dr. Norman suggests she may be experiencing a psychological disorder or waking dreams and asks how she feels when she wakes up to find her husband dead. She insists it's not dreams, she truly wakes up and finds him dead. He tries to convince her it might be something in her mind, but she doesn't believe him and leaves. She goes to Jim's workplace and finds him there. She asks to talk outside, but he says he has an important meeting. She sees the strange woman from the funeral and asks who she is. The woman says her name is Carl, and Jim explains she's the new assistant manager. The manager calls them to the meeting, and Linda leaves. Later, a storm begins. Linda calls the girls to bring in the laundry because of the rain. Bridget runs, and Linda shouts, "No." Suddenly Bridget crashes into the glass door, which shatters and cuts her. Linda rushes her to the hospital. Jim arrives at the hospital to check on them, and Linda tells him their daughter was running and hit the glass. After that, they go home. We see Jim picking up the broken glass and telling her she should put a sticker on it. Linda replies that she did, she remembers putting it there. Jim tells her he asked her to have her mother come stay with her and help with the girls. Linda insists she's fine and can take care of her daughters herself. As she goes upstairs to change, the paper with Dr. Norman's number falls from her hand. She throws it into the same trash can where she had found the torn paper in her dream. She then focuses for a few seconds, goes downstairs, and brings a large sheet of paper. She writes the days of the week and starts listing what happened on each day. She begins with Thursday, the day she received news of Jim's death. On Monday, he was still alive. On Sunday, there was the funeral and she discovered the lithium bottle. On Saturday, she was admitted to the hospital. On Tuesday, she met Dr. Norman and Bridget was injured. Finally, she writes that Jim died on Wednesday. Jim then arrives, so she hides the paper under the tablecloth. At that moment, Linda asks him not to go on his trip. He says he can't, he's been waiting for that meeting for a long time. Linda begs him not to go and says she's afraid. Jim insists nothing will happen to him. After a heated argument, she says, "Fine, can you at least wake me before you leave?" The next day, Linda wakes up and sees her mother. She isn't sure whether it's Friday or Sunday, but her mother tells her it's Friday. Linda takes the paper and remembers meeting Carl on Tuesday. After writing, she tells her mother she's going out. Her mother asks how she can go out when she hasn't recovered from yesterday's shock. Linda goes to Carl and discovers that Jim had been cheating on her with her. Later, Linda is at the insurance office. The employee tells her that Jim modified his insurance policy on Wednesday morning. He spoke about her and the girls being the most important thing in his life and tripled the insurance amount. Linda returns home. Her mother tells her they need to go to the funeral home. Linda replies that she has already done everything and says that tomorrow is Saturday, which confuses her mother. That night, her mother checks on her. Linda asks, "If I let Jim die, would that mean I killed him?" Her mother replies that Jim has already died, then leaves the room. Linda wakes up again with Jim sleeping beside her. When he wakes, she tells him it's Sunday and very hot. She suggests he take the girls out to spend a nice day together. Jim agrees. After they leave, Linda goes to church and speaks to her father. She tells him she's afraid. He tells her a story about a woman in 1632 who predicted a great hurricane. She was accused of witchcraft, but 2 days later, a hurricane destroyed the entire town. He also tells her about Boston in 1918, during a severe illness outbreak. A father claimed he could see the future and saw the graves of his 2 children. He killed them, but autopsy reports proved they weren't sick. The father then killed himself. Linda asks who these people were and what happened to them. He replies that there are things no one can explain. Some believe they suffer from blasphemor absent foetas, the danger of lacking destiny, people who believe in spirituality and have lost their faith. Linda says she feels something terrible is going to happen and asks for guidance. He tells her to hold on to her life and her love and that she still has time to make things right. On her way back, Linda notices the 220-mile marker, the site of the accident. She stops and remembers everything she experienced, including the crash scene. A car nearly hits her, and she quickly drives away. That night, Linda stands in the yard. Jim comes out and asks what's wrong. She asks how they ended up this way and says she doesn't want to lose him. Thunder and lightning strike, causing an electrical surge. In that moment, the dead bird she had thrown into the yard is struck and burns from the electric surge. Jim takes her inside. They grow close, and Jim asks if there's something she wants to tell him. She says she dreamed that he died. He reassures her it was just a dream and that everything is fine. The next morning, Linda wakes up terrified. She calls Annie and asks what day it is. Annie says it's Wednesday. Linda runs through the house calling for Jim. She finds a note saying he took the girls to school and will return tomorrow. She tries calling him, but he doesn't answer. At the same time, we see Jim at the insurance office. This is when he increased the insurance policy. Linda goes to the girls' school looking for him but doesn't find him. Meanwhile, Jim receives a call from his lover. He tells her he can't be with her and hangs up. He leaves Linda the voicemail we heard at the beginning of the film, trying to confess something, but sees she is calling him at the same time. We remember that in the beginning, he stopped mid-message because someone was calling him. Now Jim answers Linda and tells her he wanted to confess something. Linda says she knows everything. She knows about his relationship with the assistant manager. Jim says he loves her and wants to fix everything. Linda tells him, "I'm behind you. I'm coming." We realize she's heading to the highway where the accident happens. Jim pulls over to wait for her. Linda remembers the crash scene and urgently tells him to turn the car around. She sees a vehicle approaching from the opposite direction. She believes she has saved him. But then Jim drops his phone. When he picks it up and continues talking, he tries to start the car. It won't start. At that moment, a large truck approaches. Linda screams at him to get out of the car, but he can't unfasten his seatbelt. The truck driver can't control the vehicle, and it crashes into Jim's car. The car explodes, and Jim dies. Finally, we see Linda wake up once more. She relives everything and realizes she had foreseen all the events in her dreams before they happened. We then discover that she is pregnant, and she begins to live and adapt to life after Jim's death.